Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you got some coffee. We still have a little bit to go. My name's Kat Meyer. I'm co-chair for O'Reilly's Tools of Change and also the community manager for O'Reilly's Tools of Change. I wanted to just do a few quick thank yous. First of all, to our speakers who worked harder than any group of people I've ever seen to get this program together. So, quick round of applause for the speakers from today. And I really want to thank the staff from the book fair who did incredible things with logistics to make this happen as well. In particular, Britta Friedrich and Siobhan O'Leary. Unbelievable work. So you can thank them for everything working so well and getting this great venue. And last but not least, of course, I want to thank all of you for coming. It's hugely inspiring to see so many people so passionate about this industry. And every year it just gets better. And no matter what the challenge is, all of you people are making it worthwhile and making it happen. So I just want to give you guys a big round of applause. Couple quick notes before we go into our crazy next session. You have surveys in front of you that we would just really appreciate if you could fill out and turn in. Helps us figure out what programming you guys like best so we can keep making better and better programs. Also, if you enjoyed this program and you want more, TOC New York, February 14th through 16th. We would love to have you all there. We've got incredible programming and 3 times as much, so a lot more time to hear it all. And in case you guys couldn't go to every session, which I couldn't, the slides are going to be posted. So we will let you all know when those are up. Check Twitter. And thank you guys for tweeting also. It's been incredibly helpful to be able to keep track of what's going on. It's a very busy day, and not everybody can take part in everything, either here. People all around the world were following, so appreciate it. So that brings us to our next session. We're doing what is Picha Kucha on steroids. This is a little bit more of a challenge. We've got some incredible speakers who took this project on at short notice. I think we're going to be very entertained and enlightened. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Richard Nash, who's going to be our MC for this wonderful event.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. I've done this a couple of times, and you may already know how hellish it is to try to do one of these, or you may not. But when you see what goes on in the next 60 minutes, you're going to see some people who've worked tremendously hard to distill some very, very complex ideas, experiences, feelings, intuitions, beliefs, passions and visions into 300 seconds. And as many of you know, many of you have worked directly in publishing. Some of you, I'm sure, have worked as editors. Less is often more. You create a great degree of addition by subtraction, and it can be very, very, very hard to pull off communicating a lot in a very, very short period of time, and the 8 people we've got here today have worked really, really, really hard to do that. Ignite was started by a couple of guys who worked for O'Reilly Media. They did it on a lark. They just wanted to see what it would be like, exemplifying a spirit of experimentation and personal commitment. You might call it ass on the line commitment to talk about something in public and to share in public, to effectively collaborate on generating ideas. And when I first encountered Tools of Change, it blew my mind so much I quit my job in publishing. I had, at the time, in early 2009, I had a nice salaried job. There were fewer and fewer of those in publishing. No one was quitting their jobs. They were just trying to avoid getting fired. And Tools of Change blew my mind so much, I went to my wife 2 days after it and said, I've got to quit. Honey, I've got to quit because the future of publishing is upon us, and I want to be a part of it. And what you've got here is the 8 people who are a part of the future of publishing, inspiring folks like me and hopefully yourselves to go out there and make it happen in the here and now. And the first of these, you might say he is the representative of the home team, is Joe Weichert, who is general manager and publisher of O'Reilly Media, where he manages sales and editorial. O'Reilly spreads the knowledge of innovators through books, online services, and conferences. He had previously been at Wiley and wrote a wonderful personal blog on the topic of the Kindle, which he has since expanded to be a really beautiful consideration of his own personal encounters with all the work that we're trying to figure out professionally. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Weichert.
Okay, so I'm not sure if my 15 seconds on this slide have started or not, but as Richard said, I'm a publisher, but I'm coming to you today as a consumer, okay? And starting off with, I bought one of the original Kindles and really thought it was cool to be able to download books any time of the day or night in 1 or 2 minutes. And I was a big fan of it, but I wanted more, as I say here. And so I was one of those losers that went out the first day in April and waited in line and bought myself an iPad. I've really enjoyed that experience, but in the immortal words of Bono, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, frankly. And I think a big part of that has to do with what we consider today to be the ebook formula, where we take the print book content, we lower the price, we wrap DRM around it typically, and we call it an ebook, and we think that it's something special. I would propose that there's actually at least a couple models for the future, and the one on the left is what we're doing today already. It's this quick and dirty approach where we take the print format and put it in E. But I think there's a higher priced option we should be going after, where it's digital first. It's a much harder model to build, but there's a lot of upside to it, I think, from both a revenue and a penetration point of view. Be totally new for us, and I think that both can coexist, certainly, but we absolutely should be investing more on the right side here. And we seem to be stuck because this is a heck of a lot longer than 15 seconds for this slide. There we go. But, as I thought about this, it conjured up one of my favorite quotes about how early television shows were nothing more than radio programs recorded in front of a camera. And I feel like that's where we are today on the ebook and e-content timeline. You look at where things are with those early TV shows, and we've come a long way since then. In fact, when was the last time you looked at the original iPod? I mean, look at this thing. It's kind of laughable at this point. But it was just 9 short years ago that this thing was all the rage. And then we have the state of the art today in the middle, and who knows what we'll be looking at in 2 or 3 years. So how do we go from what I consider to be kind of an okay model today, but to something a lot more exciting? Well, I put together a list of some of the simple things I feel like we as an industry should embrace going forward here, and that's what the rest of this deck is all about. So starting off, setting the bar kind of low, I feel like as a consumer, when I buy an ebook, I want it to be multi-format and totally free of DRM, okay? So if I buy a Kindle book, I don't just want it to work on my Kindle. I want the EPUB format, and I want the PDF and everything else in one transaction. Again, no DRM. If indeed, though, I'm unable to get something that is multi-format, I at least want to be able to run it on all the popular platforms. And by the way, Amazon does a terrific job here with this, and that's why I continue to buy books from them and not from Apple, frankly, because I'm afraid of lock-in. Number 3, social networking is something I've been pleading for since day one with my Kindle. I mean, something simple as just being able to tweet from within the reader, but more specifically, being able to link to a specific excerpt, okay? I want to have that kind of functionality. This is a mock-up of an iPad screen, a book that I'm reading in the Kindle app, where I've taken and done a lot of things I can do in a physical book. I put a Post-it note in here, I handwrote some notes. I'd like to be able to do that in my book and share it with others. Also, thinking about the used book world, where my kids